Howdy. My name's Alan Rasmussen. I am President and CEO of Hometown Bank right here in Galveston, and it is my privilege to invite to the stage Mayor Craig Brown and also City Manager Brian Maxwell. If y'all could please come to the stage. They're going to give us a state of the city and talk about economic development. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here today. And Mayor, we will start with you. Your term ends in May. Can you talk about some of the city's current and ongoing projects that are going to benefit economic development now and into the future?
Well, I can. Thank you. Glad to be here this morning. Let's talk about past accomplishments for the city. I think one of those that I think the city is very proud of, and City Council is very proud of, is the increase of our involvement with our infrastructure improvements there at the city. We have more infrastructure improvements going on in the city of Galveston than many people can ever remember. We're looking forward to 5 years, going in the next 5 years to go through $600 million of infrastructure improvements for the city. One of the major components of this is our stormwater management plan. And recently, a couple years ago, we put together a master plan for stormwater management that's already paying dividends right now. We recently have changed our drainage requirements for developers to make it easier based on some data that has come forward with that master plan that we put together. And also, when we talk about drainage for the city, really the words are pump stations. We have already put our thoughts together for a 14th Street pump station. We're moving forward now with a South Shore pump station, purchase land for a third pump station. Our master plan is showing that we probably will wind up with 7 pump stations altogether. So we're putting a lot of attention to that, and that is starting to pay dividends for our residents also because of the increase in our discount for our community rating service. That is, we get discounts on the flood insurance that our residents pay. So that's so important to continue to move forward with plans for drainage control here in the city. Currently, I want to talk about one project that's on everybody's mind right now, and that is the Davie project that's going on Pelican Island. Great project. It's a game changer for this community, bringing in thousands of jobs here to Galveston, hundreds of millions of dollars in investment in Pelican Island, and that's moving forward. Council has supported that with a resolution recently so that they can apply for Texas Enterprise funding for that project, and that's moving forward very, very nicely also. Another thing that we're doing here at the city is that Council is very open to work with purchasing land on Pelican Island, and we are now working out the final negotiations on that with the Port of Houston. That needs to be done so that we can increase our infrastructure there on Pelican Island so that we can prepare for economic development. That needs to be done, and we're moving forward with that, and hopefully we'll have that signed, sealed, and delivered with the purchase of some land over there here very shortly. And so the Davie project, not only for the port but for the entire community, is going to be really a wonderful project from an economic development standpoint. I want to look at the future here now and make a few comments. Pelican Island Bridge, I really could put this into the past, present, and future when you talk about Pelican Island Bridge. It's something that we've put a lot of attention to over the years at the city. And we're moving forward with that. We had some sticking points that we were working with. One of them was that TxDOT wanted us to be responsible for the cost overruns of this project. We cannot do that here at the city. We can't put that burden on our citizens here in the city. So what we're doing is we've worked out with TxDOT arrangements. We have a contract with them. We have responsibilities that we have met. I would say that we have put together the contracts with our local participants on that, and also we have their funding in the bank now. So we are also working to secure the remaining funding for this project. TxDOT is working with us on that, and the city of Galveston is working. And once we get that final funding for this project, we'll be signing the AFA, and the city of Galveston will be owning this bridge once that's signed. I would say this, and you've heard this before, TxDOT is moving forward. They are not slowing down with this bridge. The environmental, the design, the engineering, they're moving forward with that, and that's something that they are not stopping this, even though the final funding hasn't been organized yet. Want to mention also for the future, we're putting together here at council, and I want to thank the council that's here. I wanted to recognize them, but also thank them. This council is putting a lot of attention to expanding our definition of economic development. Economic development is not only infrastructure, it's not only permitting, but it's providing quality of life improvements for the people that live here. And so we're putting a lot of attention at council for increase of our park system, to our sidewalk and curb groups and crews that are out there. Putting a lot of attention, we'll be dedicating the Sandhill Crane Soccer Complex shortly. Those type of things are really economic development components of a community, and we want to make sure that we support those. And we're moving forward with looking at other funding streams also to fund these. Funding is becoming tighter and tighter as the years go by, and the cost of doing business for a city goes up. So what we're doing is looking at alternate revenue sources, such as from tourism and things like that. And we've already worked out an arrangement with the Port of Galveston for tariffs on cruise passengers, for parking fees of $1 per day per vehicle over there. And November 7th, we'll be opening up the 4th cruise terminal, and that's going to increase the parking revenue and the tariff revenue for this city. That's unrestricted monies. So it comes to the city that we can utilize for economic development, for quality of life improvements, and we can utilize it for many other things without tapping in to our general fund monies for that. So it's a bright future for the city. I want to give a shout out to Kyle Clark, Coastal Resource Manager. We have a department that is working diligently to make sure that we stay in good touch with the GLO and move forward with economic development. And I want to give a shout out to Michelle Hay. Also, Michelle is our Economic Development Coordinator and putting a lot of attention to that here at the city. So overall, has some wonderful projects that have been going on, some current ones, and we're looking forward to some really positive developments in the future.
Great. Thank you. Great information, Mayor Brown. Okay. City Manager, Brian, tell us about some of the wins out of the City Manager's office. Just highlight some of those wins, just past, present, and future.
Sure. Kind of have to go backwards to really look at it. I'm completing my 15th year at the City of Galveston this year. I came on board pretty much right after Hurricane Ike. Economic development was not on the radar screen when I got to the City of Galveston. It was still about recovery. We were still trying to get trash off the streets, still trying to get abandoned vehicles off the streets. We still had homes damaged. It was a big mess. So, you know, the big management challenge then was to really recognize the role of economic development and what we needed to get our city back. We needed to recover. And we started planning those routes with creating an economic development group at the City of Galveston, and we've gone through different iterations of it until we finally got to perfection with Michelle. And we have tried to make that a key component of what has made Galveston very important. Currently, we're faced with managing that success. I think we've been overall very successful in growing our economy in Galveston and also growing our business in Galveston. I've said this 1,000 times. You've heard me say it probably every year that I've spoken here. Nobody wants to live in a city that nobody wants to invest in, and nobody wants to invest in a city that nobody wants to live in. So for the first part of what we did with economic development, and the mayor touched on this, it was about the basics. It was about infrastructure. It was about parks. It was about streets. It was about drainage. And we're always going to be about that. We have to do those things well in order to have investment in Galveston. But now we have success, and we have to manage that success. What do we do with the millions of cruise passengers that are flooding onto our island every day thanks to the good work the port has done? What do we do with all the millions of visitors that we're getting because of the good work the park board has done in recruiting and getting people to come to Galveston? And how do we do that so our residents who have been here the entire time don't get pushed out, and how they don't feel like they've been left by the curb while we're courting new people to come to the island? So that's a big challenge. When I first came to the city, we pretty much operated Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the exception of police and fire. We've now evolved into a 24/7 city. We have to. I've joked with our public works crew, nothing is going to break until after 5 on a Friday. That is going to happen, and it's always going to happen on the 4th of July, Memorial Day, or Labor Day. And so, we now operate a 24-hour call center for all of our public works standards. We have 24-hour crews that are working day and night. If we have issues, things don't have to wait till the next morning. So managing that success has been somewhat of a challenge. Where we go in the future is even more important to us because we need to make sure that we're not building a house of cards at the City of Galveston. We want to make sure that, as the mayor touched on, we're looking for alternative revenue sources, but we have some very core functions that we have to provide whether one person visits Galveston or not. When you call 911, somebody's got to come. And we need to make sure that those core services are funded and paid for by a very stable revenue stream. And while revenue that we garner from tourism, revenue that we garner from fees in other areas is all great, those are less than stable in a normal environment other than this high growth environment that we've talked about today. So we need to be very cautious with how we structure our future, and that's going to be a real challenge to the City of Galveston. Success is a great thing. But if you don't manage it, it can also be the death of you. And that's what we're doing the best to do here, is to try to make sure that we not only enjoy the successes that we've accomplished, but that we're also planning for future successes, and we make sure the City of Galveston is prepared for it, both with infrastructure and financing. And finally, the last thing we're doing, is the mayor touched on this, we are really starting to look at and evolving our economic development incentives and things that we do at the city. We're in a catbird seat. There's people, we don't have to negotiate from a begging standpoint anymore. People want to come to Galveston. They want to do business in Galveston. To a certain degree, they need Galveston. But we need them too. So we have to have a good balance in this, and we need to make sure that we're not selling our soul to get people here, but that we're also competitive with some of the other hot markets in the United States. So we're going to do that. It's really good to be here. This is my home. I graduated from here in the early 90s. Ironically, I think we were 8-0 at that time too, Mr. Yarborough. I don't remember. But it's always good to be back on campus, and thanks A&M for hosting us in Gig'em.
All right. Thank you, Brian. I know you work extremely hard to run the city as efficient as possible. All right, we're going to try something. We're going to open this up for questions. What could possibly go wrong? There's going to be a QR code. If you'll scan the QR code, you can type in your question. Josh Owens is in the back of the room with a hot mic. He'll ask the question on your behalf. And so while everyone is opening up their phones and hopefully typing away, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first question. And this is really for either one of you. You may have different answers. Is there anything coming to downtown that we should be aware of?
Well, I'll start this off. That's a favorite topic for me. Downtown, there is a lot of activity going on downtown. As you may know, we put together We actually took the revenue from the parking downtown and put together a downtown cleaning crew for downtown. And if you haven't been downtown lately, we are downtown picking up trash throughout the busy weekends. We are emptying the trash cans. We're cleaning out. We're watering those trees down there and making sure downtown stays very, very pristine as much as we can during our busy weekends and during the week down there. We have a livable communities money that we have tapped into, that we're doing improvements downtown also. And also IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, has set aside millions of dollars for improvements downtown. And you can see those right now down there about the corner of 23rd and Market, of the streetscape changes that we're making down there. So downtown is on our radar, and we're hopefully doing more things down there.
Great. To add to what the mayor is, we've also been the successful recipient of about $10 million in improvement money through the livable, 24 million, I'm sorry. What's millions between friends? We've got a lot of investment coming in grant money to the city of Galveston for downtown specifically. You're going to see a lot more of what you've seen already with our pilot project. That pilot project turned out to be a fantastic investment because that is what they look for when awarding these type grants, is pilot projects and success. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that downtown. It's our goal to connect downtown. I joke all the time that if when I was in high school, if I'd have told my parents at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday I was going to go walk on Post Office Street, they would have killed me. But now, lo and behold, here I am going to see Chris Homer at the Mod. So we've made a big strides downtown, but what's coming next is really going to be exciting. That coupled with the improvements that we're making in infrastructure in terms of drainage and other things in the future is really going to help. And downtown is important to us in a lot of facets. It's important to us from a sales tax perspective, small business perspective, but it's also important to us from a tourism perspective, and that is what I call a stay extender. Everybody wants to go to the beach, but what do you do when you're done with the beach? And that's what downtown is to us, and it's very important in addition to its historic significance. So we're very excited about all of this.
You know, one other thought about downtown, you know, something that we're really missing, and we're working to try to come up with a solution, is tying these cruise lines and cruise passengers to visiting downtown. That has been a hard thing because we have Harborside there trying to get across on the Harborside. I would say, though, we're going to be looking at possibly a mobility study at the port, and I think personally we need to look at shuttles, moving people from the port to downtown and have a route that would take them through many of the areas that retail and restaurant areas of downtown.
Great. Thank you both.
Gentlemen, the public really want to know what is going to be planned for I-45 and 61st Street, and how's that moving forward?
The plan is complete and utter chaos. It continues to get pushed back because the projects up the road, I think, are they're close to being on schedule, but they're moving a little slower. I think weather and other things have delayed them. I believe we're looking at some type of letting in 2027. There's going to be a flyover from 61st Street. It's going to pick up basically at the foot of the bridge that connects English and Offutt's Bio. The main purpose of that is really for evacuation purposes. And when I say evacuation, I know we all go to hurricanes, but we basically evacuate this island every Sunday about 11 a.m. when all the short-term rentals and hotels check out. So we're really looking forward to having that. It is going to be a several-year inconvenience for us. I think the fruits of that are going to be very beneficial to us when it's done. But if you like what's going on up the highway every time you go to Houston, it's coming to a city near you. And I think, though, that the other big thing is, when we talk about evacuation, one of the lowest points in the evacuation routes in Texas is the underpass at 61st Street. With a growing and robust West End and more permanent residents moving to that area, we have to have a good way to get them off the island. Right now, the evacuation route is to go and do a U-turn at 59th and Broadway and not go underneath that go underneath the 61st Street overpass. So that is playing a critical role in what they're doing as well. But we're looking for a start sometime in 27, and it's probably going to be a multi 4 to 5 year project until it's complete. There's going to be a lot of right-of-way adjustment along in front of Target and Home Depot out there as we widen it, because they are going to be adding a center landing into the freeway, and they're also adding lanes coming all the way to 59th Street.
Can you let us know how the pump stations will work?
Well, water's going to go in, and then it's going to, no. The first pump station is actually the second one that we've been awarded. It's going on to, and it's going to be the first one complete. It's on English Bio. What the big purpose of these are is part of what's happened in Galveston right now is that we basically drain Galveston through straws. We're not one of these big rural areas where you're using big open ditches and canals to move water around. A drop of water that falls on 45th and U travels miles and miles in a pipe before it exits into its ultimate location, which is the bay or the bio. These pump stations are going to do many different things, and I want to make it very clear. You live on a barrier island. We are subject to tropical rainforests. Nothing is going to eliminate flooding on this island. What it is going to do is hasten and expedite drainage. And one of the big things is that we do lack retention here on the island. A lot of our new building standards that everybody's struggling with is some form of retention on their property. And we're hoping that what these things are going to do, one of the biggest benefits of these pump stations are to keep our underground pipes evacuated of water. Right now, if you lift any manhole cover in Galveston, you are going to see water. I joke that we don't need fire hydrants anymore. We can drop a hose in any storm drain in Galveston and fight a fire because there's enough water in there. What we're hoping to do is to keep these storm drains evacuated. That's going to immediately give us relief for interim type rainstorms, so we have some capacity beneath the streets to store water. The other thing is that water works just like everybody else standing in line. It's first in, first out. We've had tremendous and robust growth along the waterfront areas of Galveston, and as that happens, that's put a lot of water at the head of or at the exit points of our drainage systems. And that actually helps back water up into the center and parts of town. So we're hoping with these pumps, if we can keep things evacuated, we're going to be able to move water much, much faster and much more efficiently. A lot of the work you've seen in Galveston up to this point gets labeled as drainage work, and it actually is, in that we're improving and replacing, in some cases, 100, 125-year-old drains like we did on 45th and other things. And we're doing that not necessarily at this very moment to improve the drainage in those areas, but we also understand that the flows are going to be tremendous when these pumps are running. We're going to be moving way more water through these pipes than at a much higher speed than's ever been happened before. And we want to make sure we don't have failures in the system when that happens. So we've been building up to these pumps for a while, and with construction starting on English Bio, I think we're notice to proceed next week on English Bio, and we'll be issuing the bids for the 14th Street pump station hopefully at the end of the year, if not the first part of next year, to get it rolling as well. Those are going to be the first two. These pump stations are every bit of a $60 to $100 million investment. They cannot be done locally. They require state and federal grants, and our goal is to stay ahead of everything. And like we were with downtown, we're going to be shovel ready, so we're first in line to get the money for these type things as it becomes available.
Let's get a big round of applause for our city's leadership. They've done such an excellent job in investing in Galveston.